Hello, it's the Mark Attwood Show. I think. Yes, that's right. The Mark Attwood Show. I think I'm Mark Attwood, and it's Adventures in a Cosmic Suit. How's your adventure in a cosmic suit going? Mine's nuts. Do you know what? I think it's that time of year. It's Alexander Quinn time. But before I bring him on, let's just go back 12 months and have a look what he said a year ago.
Something only the ascended masters did in biblical times, and now 8 billion or so people are all becoming ascended masters, so to speak, all in one go. So it is intense, and it's not going to get any easier.
Well, no shit, Sherlock.
And hello, I am Mark's cousin. for those who didn't know, we are part of the same inbred family. So hello, Mark.
It's been a year. What? What a year.
Yeah, we were just saying that often people think we're related. We probably are cosmically, but I thought I'd wear my glasses for this call so that we can look as closely related as possible.
Did I ever tell you that I did a QHHT and I was an Arcturian once upon a time? Did I ever tell you that?
Yeah.
I did tell you that. Okay. Well, it's been 5 years now, so it's our annual show. How are you?
Extremely busy. Doing a lot of interviews. I've got clients booking as far ahead as September, which seems crazy. It's do you know what? I used to have a corporate job in London many years ago when I was more in the 3D world, and I work longer hours and harder now than when I was doing that. But so when I said in that last video that things were not going to get any easier, what I really meant is that increasingly what we're going to have up until with that 18-year window, from going up until 2030, when we're going to have the convergence of all timelines finally conclude, and the plateau of energies is going to settle. We've still got that massive 4-year window of acceleration going on. Yeah, so the sun is helping us. We've got the heliosphere, which is going down, and the gravitational fields are going down, and various different veils are going down. At the cellular level, we've got telomeres, which are changing and helping chromosomes react. DNA, which is dormant, going back to lineages, partly Anunnaki, partly Pleiadian, and others who helped seed us 350,000 years ago in what the Middle East is sometimes known as the Denavi or the Denavi or Eden. And so what we have at this moment in time is a higher field of consciousness awareness, which wants to anchor down onto the planet in terms of what humans call ascension. And so if you have a higher field of awareness that wants to anchor down in terms of what is actually normality in galactic cosmic terms, because we're not ascending, we're just going back to normality. So as normality cosmically, or that higher field of informational awareness, is trying to anchor back down to actually create coherence and realign out of existing distortion and timelines looping that need to be uncreated, light is everything that is not light is being absorbed. And as it's being absorbed, it has to deconstruct consciousness and density, that which has been playing out where free will has been abused. And therefore, if we have a higher field of consciousness awareness, a higher vibrational field coming down to re-anchor, which is what it should have always been, then what it's going to do is, as that informational new awareness comes in, old information is irrelevant. It doesn't matter anymore. So old information in the timelines and the fields has to be let go of. So we don't need to learn more. We need to unlearn. You don't need to become all aware. You don't need to be all knowing. You need to become more aware. And so as it's anchoring, it is basically helping starseeds and light workers let go of the illusion of a lower timeline, and those timelines that are looping, that have to be stopped as the convergence is coming down of this higher field. And so everything that is absorbed into light can create friction if it is in resistance. Therefore, more fatigue, more headaches, more ascension symptoms, feeling like I don't want to be on the planet, because heaven is not a place, it's a frequency. We embody that frequency on Earth. Earth really can be heaven. I've had a heavenly morning myself. I've been channeling. I accidentally channeled Source this morning. I said to the Arcturians, why are we having all this big solar activity? And they said, wait one moment, please. We're going to bring Source in so you can just have it straight from the horse's mouth.
They put you on hold.
Yeah. I'm actually going to put that message out on my channel in 48 hours. So, so as that light is anchoring, it's going to absorb anything that is not of Source, where free will has been abused, with that new informational awareness that is anchoring, and it can create friction, and it can create tiredness and racing heart and all that sort of things. But consciousness within the body has to be widened. It doesn't narrow. And so as the heart is having heart palpitations or racing, at the light body level, your physical heart with your light body is opening. And so it feels like it's being stretched sometimes. Yeah. So people are going to the emergency room going, oh my God, there's something wrong with my heart. There's something wrong with my skin, the biggest organ of the body. You're getting skin blotches. Yeah, the eyes start to water when we get these big energies coming in.
I've been crying for 3 days.
Yeah, you will do. Yeah.
Like, oof.
You will. And those with the root issues will be experiencing things with their feet, the legs, the teeth, the blood, the bowels, the immune system. If they're walking through the mother wounding on the left-hand side, they're walking through the father wounding on the right-hand side. Yeah, people with issues with the breasts, the reproductive system, the lymphatic system. They'll be having blockages within their creational and sexual codes. You know, the gallbladder, the pancreas, abandonment issues, anger issues. Will be creating issues in the liver and autoimmune deficiency problems, yeah? And the list just goes on and on and on and on. And so within the 4 bodies of your mental, physical, emotional, and energetic body, as that higher field of consciousness awareness, that embodiment that's trying to anchor on Earth with new informational fields is coming down, it's showing where resistance is. And people are going, oh my God, I feel so tired. I can't get enough sleep. I can't get out of bed. Because it's showing you where you are in resistance, because we are not in, when Source is working through us, we're not meant to be eating 3 times a day, getting up at 6 in the morning, going into an office, getting home, eat, sleep, you know, and then doing that all 5 days. It's not a natural cycle through evolution, and certainly not how Source set us up to be distracted, to be able to move away from Source. And so all of these so-called distractions that are not Source working through free will have to be highlighted and shown as where you are in restriction or resistance to it. So it gets harder and harder to go into an office. It gets harder and harder to stay in that relationship. It gets harder and harder to be in that job that you don't like, be married to that person that you married for the wrong reasons, or so on, so forth. And so everything that is a vibrational frequency mismatch will be dramatically highlighted as this higher state of informational awareness and new informational coding begins to anchor. Because as it starts to hit and anchor, it needs coherence. But you can't have coherence if there's friction in the middle. And so some people will, on the singularity, will be in the coherence in the middle, and it'll feel great. Some people won't be, and they'll feel like, I don't want to be here. It's awful. Nothing ever changes. Alexander Quinn says that these dates come, but they just pass because there's no internal restructuring, allowing for an external manifestation. And those that are working, and I've seen some clients just this week who are in total non-resistance, allowing Source to work through them beyond the limitation of egoic, linear, logical and rationale thinking. In other words, well, I must do this because this keeps me safe. I must do this. It pays the bills. Beyond the limitation of that egoic thinking, where Source is coming in and saying, try walking in the soul path, because actually your real money, love, and abundance is actually over here. If you can just follow the potentialities of this breadcrumbs without the ego having to turn to the last page of this book and know everything that's going to happen before it's had time to actually anchor and allow you to walk through the journey of light back to a soul fractal that is actually me, source creator. And so what starseeds and light workers are doing is some are ahead of others, some are experiencing ascension symptoms more than others. And it's secular and secular in terms of soul groups and so on and so forth. And so the reason why you asked me to come on this show, I'm guessing, but we talked about this in the email, is, so that's great, Alexander. How did the mechanics of that work in a lived experience from now until March? What are the dates? Can you walk us through it? Okay, Mark, no problem at all. Let's go through it. You don't have to say a word for the next hour. Great.
I don't have to speak.
Okay.
Welcome to the Alexander Quinn Show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So phase one, this is what the Arcturians gave me. Yeah. Phase one, I've just brought up the notes on my computer. Phase one, it's awareness and revelation. Yeah. From the 1st of February to the 20th of February. Now, why that's a big deal is because we've already had the snow moon, which is all about showing the emotional template where it needs to be in alignment and where it was out of alignment, where toxicity is existing in relationships, and where people are a frequency mismatch between their actions and their words, and how their actions and their words emotionally co-create and come back to them vibratorily in their holographic matrix. And that's what the snow moon on the 1st of February, along with that 8.1x flare that we had, that the Arcturians and Gaia talked about in my recent transmission, was showing us. And then on the 17th of February, you have the solar eclipse, which then opens up a 14-day window without being too wordy or word salad, which is basically saying, okay, Source is going to give your holographic matrix a little window here of 14 days where it's going to give you every conceivable type of synchronicity through people, places, things, and animals, car registration plates, numbers, 111, new beginnings, ascension codes, 333, stay on the track, you're on the right journey, 555, totally big change coming, 666, don't get head up and skewed by the material world, you're still on the right track, but don't get lost in material things, 777, Christ consciousness, divine codes are coming in, purify, detox, 888, abundance is about to arrive in the material world, 999, endings, everything's about to hit, like the world card, for example, in tarot, and then you get combinations. So if you get 1818, you're looking at new timelines, new essential codes, and abundance coming in at the same time. And so on the 17th of February, that solar eclipse, what it's going to do is bring in that 2-week window where everything in your holographic matrix, including all those angel numbers and everything else, and all those other soul confluences, or what you experience as interacting with other souls down here on earth at this moment in time, are going to show you where your resistances are, but specifically in that 2-week window, what must now be dropped so that more of this coherence can happen as these new informational fields are starting to come in and anchor. Otherwise, it's going to feel heavier, more dense, and then people are going to go into victimhood. And when starseeds and lightworkers go into victimhood, they go into, I'm being psychically attacked. Something terrible is happening to me. I don't want to be here. Instead of embodying a frequency, which is heaven on earth, instead of leaving the planet to experience that frequency, because earth is home. And lots of starseeds and lightworkers forget that they've actually made lots of other places like earth their cosmic home before. So this is not the first time, although we are embodying now at this moment in time. And those that can anchor that frequency of heaven on earth will stay here and embody the earth. And those that can't will then leave and go back to their councils of light and source and so on and so forth. And so phase one, awareness and revelation, as the Arcturians put it, is nothing is wrong. You are seeing. So from the 1st of February to the 20th of February, then we have the 20th of February, have that incredible astrological moment where Saturn, Neptune at 0 degrees of Aries. Now, I am not purely an astrologer, but what that is a demarker of the end of a massive epoch of time, because in some astrological circles, they're saying, well, we haven't had something like that 3 years, but in other ones, they're saying 1,000 years, and in other astrological circles, to the actual nth degree, thousands of years. And so awareness and revelation really should be translated from the 1st of February to the 20th of February as nothing is wrong, you are seeing. That is phase one. So phase two, what we're going to go into then is choice and integration. That is from the 28th of February to the 20th of March. Yeah. So in that magical window, that what I like to call it a sandwich eclipse, or an eclipse sandwich, or for what some starseeds and light workers like to call hell on earth, depending on where you sit within this singularity, depending on your state of resistance and where you are in that convergence of timelines, the ones that are closing and opening, is choice and integration. Because as we walk up until the 20th of March, consciousness is deconstructing itself. It's not constructing itself, it's having to deconstruct itself. So as we go into the galactic new year, we're actually really starting the year from the 20th of March going forward, especially the galactic new year, where we actually start getting the delayed effect anchoring into physicality at the cosmic and galactic level in terms of what humans in linear terms call 2026, a linear world year, 4 years before the magic 24-year window closes. And so in that 2-week period of the eclipse sandwich, where everything is deconstructing, but things in the holographic matrix are synchronously speeding up so that you can see in physical awareness where everything needs to drop. Then boom, the 28th of February drops, and then we get a massive 6th planetary alignment to say, okay, now we're going to use the archetypal energies of the planets as a permission slip to experience at an even faster pace where you're out of alignment with those archetypes during that window, as above, so below. Then we hit the 3rd of March, which will be the end of that 2-week period of realignment and deconstruction. And then what happens on the 20th of March, when we hit the equinox, is about a balancing of energies, where night and day becomes perfectly aligned, and where we get the dust begins to settle. So if you're going to have a divorce, if you're going to leave a job, if you're going to start a job, start a new relationship, get into something, stop something, I would personally say the 20th of March onwards is a great time to do it. Now is not a good time to make any big decisions, sign anything, sell anything, borrow anything, particularly money. So the 20th of March onwards is really when the dust settles, and then what the Arcturians call phase two being the choice and integration, or as the Arcturians say, now the body catches up, or should I say the integration of those choices as the coherence starts to come in, the body that is then catching up and integrating it at the cellular level. And so what that does is then the body gets used to only eating once a day and sleeping less, and coming out of being able to have it operate in what a lower density timeline actually looks like, and operating like a being that looks like Homo luminous. Then we get phase three, anchoring in embodiment, where these codes actually then fully embody within the 4 bodies, within the holographic matrix, cosmically, and within the galactic timelines, and you get a convergence without delay in what people call cosmically instantaneous, where everything catches up with each other. And in order for that to happen, there has to be a slight realignment of consciousness. And so you get an out of phase contraction like this. It goes like this, and then boom. So it's back in. It's called the day out of time on the 25th of July. And then on the 26th of July, we get Galactic New Year. And the Arcturians call this, what was seen and integrated is now lived. And so then we go into lived experience at a cosmic level, leading us up to that magic marker 2030, which is where all of the ascension codes that we've walked through from really 2013, because really 2014, because 2012 was the demarker, 2013 was a reconstructing year, and so more like 22 years, although people call it 24, and we've got 4 left. And so it's really important to understand that increasingly as time goes on, this whole galaxy is ascending, not just Earth, although Earth is one of the more interesting features of this galaxy because it is a free will experiment. And humans are known as the masters of limitation. we are able to work out of the densest energies, out of the most limiting timelines, and still use the fractals of ourselves, or what Source refers to us as his souls, to work back into alignment out of density and to actually create cohesion where the frequency of heaven on earth becomes embodied. And this becomes a place where all star seeds and light works want to be. And that energy can be experienced and embodied now. But at the collective world soul level, it won't be fully embodied for a few generations yet. And I can already hear people saying, but I want to experience it now. Well, you can. But not all the people, the 8 billion souls who are not all in alignment, will be doing it together. And so the snowball effect really has happened, and it can't be stopped. And I mean, light has won, broadly speaking, but we're just now walking through, because galactic time runs at multiples of 10 faster than linear time. And so we are walking through our Akashic records at what people feel at a soul level is a snail's pace, because that's that feeling of urgency at the soul level, yeah. But at the physical level, it feels like it's happening. It can't happen any faster, yeah. And so it has to meet the 4 bodies and be integrated, which is what is still happening. And so, really, in a nutshell, just basically at the very basic terms, that is what is now happening in general in the lead up to the summer or our summer here in the UK in June, July, and the mechanics behind it, why it's happening at the material physical level, and why it's happening at the galactic conscious level. And that's, I'll let you come in at that point. We are always free. I can't hear you, Mark. I think your microphone is still off.
Yeah, I had to blow my nose. Yeah, you were right last year. It's not getting any easier, but I'm enjoying it.
Yeah,
I'm enjoying it. It's just such a privilege.
Well, let's put you on the spot, okay?
Yeah, come on.
Let's have a bit of fun. Okay, what is it that Mark Attwood wants to do the most this year, that he's most excited about, that seems the most illogical and the most irrational? One thing, maybe even 2 things.
I want to buy a gyrocopter.
Okay, you are a 70 frequency percent match to doing that. So there is something, that means there is something in your timeline that is not about actually buying the helicopter, but there is something in your timeline leading up to that and the events around it that are going to help create expansion for yourself and others. Although that is just a marker that you are leading up to.
Yeah, I just want to explain to the viewers, a gyrocopter is a lot cheaper than a helicopter. Don't go saying Mark's buying a helicopter. Yeah. Well, no, I can see it. It's not that ridiculous, isn't it, actually?
So what we have to do now is release fear, trauma, and conditioning. Because fear, trauma, and conditioning is the egoic template that grounds us into physicality through our 5 senses, that say, it creates all the root issues: mother wounding, father wounding, legs, teeth, blood, bowels, eating habits, eating disorders, addictive behavioral imbalances, eating disorders, inner child wounding, safety, security, connection to the material world. I belong and I don't belong. And so really it's the root issues that really become the most, shall we say, obvious in terms of resistance, as this field of energy, new field of informational energy is trying to settle on top of old looping timelines. And so the lower back pain, so on and so forth, all these things. Now, the watering eyes is more to do with the sun, yeah? And the skin conditions, the itchy skin, and people say, but that's the 5G, that's the 5G, that's the tower that just went up and over. I'm not going to say that it's not possible, but as of late, it's going to be less likely that it is on a macro level. It's going to be less likely that it is that, yeah. And so the watering of the eyes can actually be, sometimes it can actually be chemtrails, believe it or not. But the eyes are the most watery and external part of the body. And so radiation interacts with the most watery parts of your body. And so that's when the demon core shut down, and those scientists got a blast of energy. It affects the blood first. And some people get leukemia and things like that. So I'm not a doctor, but that's why you get the watering eyes amongst many other things. And so all of these resistances are just going to keep coming up. But when you release fear, trauma, and conditioning, which is our inverted codes linked to a blocked mother and father wounding, usually through root issues, your blood, your feet, your teeth, your bowels, so on and so forth. The unstuck emotional energy coming up through the teeth pain, is then you don't have to operate in a survival mechanism through the egoic mind, which is the physical template. So you don't need rational or logical thought. Now, to a lot of people, that would sound crazy, but to a lot of other people, they would say, well, that's how I operate all the time. Therefore, you don't think energy, you feel energy. And so if you look at some of the best traders in the world, or some of the best gamblers, they're using intellect to understand the process of, say, gambling or the banking system or blackjack or on a playing table, but then they go into that intuition through innate, the soup of God, and they go into the feeling of, is it going to land on black or red? Well, my mind, through logical fear and rational thinking, is saying it's going to go on red, but the feeling, the soul level, is saying, actually, it's going to go on black. So if you can let go of rational, logical thinking based on fear, trauma, and conditioning, which are all inverted block root issues, go into the feeling and follow what is illogical and irrational, because the feeling is guiding you towards something higher, you will embody that frequency of heaven on earth, and you will find your love, money, and abundance. Let me give myself as an example. I worked in the music industry for 15 years. And then one day, after a terrible accident in Nashville, where I smashed my head and cracked my skull open, I was raced to Vanderbilt Hospital, woke up, and then I was dreaming about little blue beings and things, little ETs and stuff. And suddenly a feeling overtook my awareness. And instead of me pushing it away, I followed into the feeling. And the feeling was channel extraterrestrials. And 90%, and I started telling my friends and family, and they said, yeah, but that's crazy. Why don't you go into banking? Why don't you go into recruitment? Why don't you go into property management or building houses? Or why don't you do something that makes money? And I said, yeah, but there's something here. It's not logical. It's not rational. It doesn't make sense. And everything in my blocked root is telling me I can't look after myself in a material world doing this, because it won't make money and I can't pay the bills. So in a material world, I won't be looked after, and that's not safe. Fight and flight, and then back into fear. And I said, I'm not doing that anymore. I've dropped fear now. I drop fear, frequency appearing as false evidence and all that. And so I dropped the fear, and I said, I've got nothing to lose. I'm going to channel extraterrestrials. And here I am. It's led me to my greatest love, my greatest abundance, my greatest happiness, my greatest everything. And so starseeds and light workers at the broadest level just need to come out of their heads, where thinking and logical and rational thought is, and come into the feeling, so that they're not thinking energy and feeling energy. They're not in the ego, but then they're in their higher self. They're not in a state of panic or fight or flight. They're in their intuition. They're not in their mind, they're in their heart. They're not in resistance, they're in cohesion. Mm-hmm. So really, we are playing out duality. We have all these dualities. I've just named a few of them, but duality will continue to expand, because what this vibratory field of informational awareness and source coding that's coming in, it is squashing the old timelines. And as it squashes them, if I got a bottle here, so imagine a bottle, a water bottle. I don't know, you got what? There's one in the bin over there, yeah. But if you imagine, let me get this card, yeah.
Go get it.
So if you can imagine these two cards, yeah. So this is the old timeline, yeah. This is the old timeline. This is an inverted matrix. Yeah. So now what this energy is doing is it's coming down and squashing it. It's flattening the old consciousness so that it can create cohesion. And as it flattens it, it's compressing density.
Yeah.
And as density is compressed, what does it do? If you squeeze something in the middle, duality is widening. Yeah. So if I squeeze a water bottle, an empty water bottle, it's going to get thin in the middle, and then it's getting wider on the outskirts. Yeah, it's going to compress it. And so as consciousness is being compressed, because this field of informational awareness is coming in and anchoring, or what people call light codes, because there we're ascending, it creates more extreme in duality. Well, just look at the political system in America. Yeah. Look at the divide in this country. Look at the divide everywhere. And so you'll get that compression continuing, and it'll get bigger and it'll get worse. Yeah. So it really forces the light worker to then act through their preferences. Is your preference compression in the light, or is your compression and your preference over here in density? What it's basically saying is, I'm going to compress consciousness and your timelines for you so I can make it blatantly clear where you now want to be. Because light, as more light arrives on the planet, is going to show where the dirt always was. That was already in plain view.
Yeah.
But now it's saying, well, now light is being embodied. You're seeing the dirt that was always in plain view. But now I'm separating out the timelines as consciousness is being compressed. So are you here, or are you here on the singularity? And so you're getting people having mental breakdowns at this moment in time over Trump, over this, and over Biden, and whatever. It's actually irrelevant whoever you support or whatever religion that you're in. But so as these timelines compress and create more duality as a result, eventually these timelines will get so far apart that they won't see each other out. So you won't see. Trump supporters won't see Kamala Harris supporters, and Kamala Harris supporters won't see Trump people. It'll almost be like they've stopped existing, because the timelines have been so separated out that they won't exist anymore. So that's where we're going now. But you're seeing that friction in the holographic matrix now playing out in physicality, because it's still just close enough whereby they're still banging heads like this. Yeah. And so that is what the friction is creating, but it's going to get worse and worse and worse and worse. And so usually your highest joys and excitements are linked to the drivers in your akashic field coming through as something conceptual in your in your emotional template, as saying, this feels exciting, let's go down this path. Yeah, because this is your soul is trying to give you a wink that this might be good for you. Yeah, because if something feels like shit, you're not going to do it, yeah? Apart from going to the gym, because, no pain, no gain, certain things like that. But your soul is saying, follow this. This is going to be great. It's not logical. It's not rational. So it is forcing consciousness to understand where its preferences are and where they are not. So it's giving light workers and starseeds a bit more choice, more variety, more perceptual awareness than ever to understand, I want to be here, or I want to be here. Do I want to be in unity, consciousness, and love, or do I want to be in hate and divide? And now really is the choice. Because as the whole galaxy starts to go up in vibration, all the other extraterrestrial races and the Fae and the Fairy and the Elementals and the Galactics and the Celestials and the Ascended Masters, all of them are ascending in this galaxy, because the whole tonality of this octave is going up, not just Earth, although most eyes are on Earth because it is the densest energy that is actually frequency returning back to light. And so the preference really is now a choice. Where do you want to be? Because free will is reigning supreme. It is the galactic understanding, the free will experiment of this. There's only one free will planet in this galaxy, and we're here. It's on Earth. And so the procession of the equinoxes came. All the souls said, "Yep, I want to go down there. I want to give that a go, believe it or not. And I'm going to incarnate into families. Some of them will be fantastic. I'll be the black sheep in this one. Other ones will have ancestral issues. Some of these ancestral issues will have to play out within the physical body, and other ancestral issues will have to play out in other ways and timelines, so that we can deconstruct that. And so really that is where we land at this moment in time. And so when we hit this equinox sandwich, it's just be aware of your holographic matrix. What are these angel numbers that are coming out on the microwave, on the car registration plate? What did the cat do this morning that made me feel a certain way? What was it Jonathan Ross said on English TV this morning that triggered a memory in me, that took me back to my childhood when I was happy doing something that I loved, for example? Yeah. You during that 2-week window, that 14-day period during the two eclipse, you really want to listen carefully. What is the man in the pub saying next to you that caught your ear? He was talking about something about timelines, and I'm going to drive this car. Well, that's interesting because my mother just died, and that's the car she used to drive. But what does that remind me of? Well, that reminds me of when she was actually working, doing that type of work, and that's actually what I want to go and do. And so you're going to get a massive ramp up of synchronicity in that 2-week window. And we're getting quite close to it now, but with that 6th planetary alignment smack bang in the middle, showing you where you're out of alignment with those archetypes. And so it really, the energy is working for the light worker, not against the light worker. But the problem with the egoic template, the 5 senses in linearity or physicality, is that as an invisible force of non-physicality begins to encroach on the egoic mind in physicality and then affect it in physicality or affect the body, what the mind does is that it is programmed to protect. The mind, the ego, is all about protecting itself in the physical world. Fight, flight. And so if something invisible is trying to come in and find cohesiveness at the non-physical level, which then affects the physical body, it can feel like an outside source is affecting your 4 bodies. But then if you're on the wrong side of that singularity, it creates victimhood. I am being psychically attacked. So from time to time, I will get clients, about 1 a week out of the 12, out of the 10, will go, I'm being psychically attacked, Alexander. Can you come into my light body and have a look? And I'll go, okay, can't find anything. Why don't we talk about your perception of what's actually your perception of light that's being embodied, so that we can invert it and get you back on track beyond going? Because if you're going into victimhood mentality at this moment in time, I understand it's not easy embodying light, and you have to work through your blocks, and it can be very traumatic. But going into victim mentality is going to push you further away from innate. It's going to push you into more resistance. And what victimhood mentality does, and this is not always easy for everyone to hear, but what it does, it strips away the accountability. It takes away accountability. So I'm not accountability for the blocks within my own consciousness and light body. Therefore, it is someone or something else's fault. I am now not accountable for ascending and walking through this journey back into light. I'm going to park this. And then what it does, it creates a stuck energy. And what happens with that stuck energy is it becomes denser and denser and denser and heavier and heavier and heavier, until eventually you have seizures, mental breakdowns. People get sectioned, so on and so forth, because the ego becomes so heavy and so devoid of why something is happening, but having to take on everything of why something's happening and what's happening all at the same time, is that it becomes so heavy that the ego then begins to actually deconstruct under its own weight. And that victimhood then crushes. And that's why some souls just start leaving, especially when we get these big solar energies that come in. Yeah, they create portals and souls just start leaving. And so the other thing that's going to happen is, I'm just going to say one last thing, and then you can come in if you need to, is that those who are starting to become at the forefront of consciousness at this moment in time, as this new informational awareness starts to come in, are going to start realizing that those egoic anchors of familiarity are not needed anymore. So I love going to Glastonbury, but as of late, I don't feel like I need to anymore. But that's my special place, Alexander. Like, why don't you feel like you need to go there anymore? Because that informational awareness in a now moment, as we get closer to instantaneous, isn't needed in the informational field anymore. Yeah, I don't need to hold on to the past, because once information passes through, source has already learned that at the fractal level, and then you can release it. So information doesn't need to be held onto anymore. And for that reason, I'm now going to say this again some years later, and this may now drop with those listening, is you don't need to resonate or not resonate with information anymore, because it is a reactionary rate. It is a reaction through the mental and emotional template that is forcing duality back onto informational awareness and forcing through filters to grip onto its perception of it. And so if you are resonating with information or not resonating with information, your egoic awareness is forcing a reaction through your filters to hold on to informational awareness, as to go, well, actually, here's the informational awareness. Do you know what? I'm going to give myself the luxury of not having to make a choice.
Yeah. And it is a luxury. It's lovely.
So when you go into the luxury of not having to hold on to informational awareness as it passes through, then not only do you have to entertain being triggered by other people's truths if it's not a resonant frequency match for yours, but then you fall into observational awareness and compassionate detachment and observational neutrality. And then all of a sudden you walk through life with no triggers, and everything's wonderful and everything's easy. And then you're in a state of non-resistance, and you're in flow state. And then it's easy to love yourself and then others. And then you create healthy boundaries, which allows yourself to love others more, and you love yourself more, and so on and so forth. And so there is a complexity of energy that is happening at this moment in time. And we have 4 years left to do it. So as I was saying, as the whole galaxy is ascending itself, those who are on that dense energy timeline, it's going to get slower and somewhat harder. Now, it's not that they're going to get left behind. No soul is going to get left behind. But in this lifetime, it will feel like they are getting left behind until they reincarnate either back here or into the councils and so on and so forth. And so I don't want to say time is running out, but the magic 24-year period window when as we start to come out of that photonic ring, the Alcyon ring, going around Alcyon, it's drawing to a close. And so starseeds and light workers really now need to think, what is it I have until 2030 that I really want to do that I keep putting off because I feel like it won't pay the bills, or if I do this, my family and friends will judge me, or so on and so forth. And so when I started this journey in 2012, I said, I don't care, I'm just going to do it anyway.
Yeah.
And I lost 80% of my family and friends overnight. And it was the best decision I ever made, because I was not a frequency match for those people anymore. And then new family and new friends came in.
Yeah.
And so that is how the light worker leads, because then all of those people that weren't a frequency match then see your frequency and then want to work back up to it. But you have to detach from classical FM and go up to jazz FM so that you're at that different frequency musical range, and then let them find their way out of classical back up to jazz. Because when you're on different frequency, you are literally listening to two different radio stations. I happen to love classical and jazz. My favorite music is actually rock music, which most people think isn't very spiritual. But then that's a humanism. That's actually not source speaking. So anything else you'd like to know?
No, I think that'll do for a year.
Okay. I remember about 2 years ago, I sent you an email just going, Mark, how are you doing? And I think it took you 12 months to write back to me. Do you remember?
No.
Yeah. Well, if you go back to the last interview, you said, do you know what? I just found your email from 12 months ago. And I just replied to you and I said, come on the show. So anyway, so yeah, we have a habit of doing a show once a year, but that's fine. So, and
no, it seems like a good. I mean, you know, for anybody watching that doesn't know, I know it's unlikely, but anybody that doesn't know Alexander, his YouTube channel is fantastic and is often on in my house, which is why I wanted to speak to him. But also, go and get his book, Starseeds. What's it all about? The Fast Track to Mastering Ascension by Alexander Quinn is an excellent book. How's that book going?
Good. Yeah, I mean, it's still selling. I mean, it's still selling. It's at one point, about 1 year and 8 months ago, it hit the top 10 in New Age spiritual and channeling globally in the whole world on Amazon, and it was in there for about 2 weeks, and then it slowly calmed down a bit, and now it's just selling gradually at a nice sustained rate. But for a short while, it was doing exceptionally well, and it continues to sell. And I love signing books when people come to my talks and stuff. And it's really a book for people who have friends and family who don't know anything about this sort of thing, to say, all right, I'm going to drop a little bomb on you. This is what's going on.
The beautiful thing about books,
isn't
it?
Yeah. Well, you've got a book as well, I think, haven't you?
I've got quite a few. This one, that's a good book. While you're on Amazon, go and get that. But yeah, I don't know if I told since I last spoke to you, maybe I can't remember. I set up a publishing company anyway.
Fantastic. So, and now we are all free.
Yeah. So yeah, we're publishing a lot of books at the moment this year.
And I before I coming on this show, I checked out a few of your videos just to see what you're up to.
Yeah.
You've had Tarot by Janine, and she's done some tarot stuff. And I personally, that's how I started doing readings, was the tarot a long time ago.
Well, I'm glad you brought tarot up, because it keeps popping up. Because every time I even mention tarot, there's always somebody going, "It's against God, you can't go there." And I'm like, yeah, really?
Well, how about let's have the Arcturians talk about that right now.
Yeah.
This is more of a permission slip, if anything. It is to allow the parts of your unrecognized consciousness in order to create visualizations and permission slips through your pictorial and understanding, and it creates a navigation system, a process upon which you can easily bounce off more easily. It is a framework, a permission slip only, to allow you to expand your consciousness more into your own awareness. Really, I think what they're trying to say there is that if you're looking at the tarot, sorry, give me a moment to come back.
Sure.
If you're looking at the tarot, it's giving you a sorry, what's my name again? Alexander Quinn. That's it. Yeah, so sometimes I go so far out of my body that I'm gone. What they're saying there is that when you're looking at the cards, they're all laid out. What you're allowing them to do is to trigger your psychic awareness.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
No, it's a tool.
It's a tool, yeah. There's nothing wrong with that. It's people who talk about plant medicine, yeah. That is a permission slip. Acid, LSD, ayahuasca, peyote, all these things. I don't care what anyone takes. I'm not in judgment. It doesn't bother me. But again, it's just a permission slip. But if every time I had to smoke DMT to channel the Arcturians in a client session to understand why they're going through soul fractal retrieval problems, that would be a bit of a problem. So I have to be able to go in quick and come out quick. And so permission slips are great. Look, I'm wearing a permission slip right now. This huge chunk of golden tektite, otherwise known as Libyan gold. That in itself is a permission slip. It's also like a sledgehammer for your solar plexus. But
this one's great, and this is actually based on the same materials that the Round Towers of Ireland are built on.
Is that Preseli?
It's I don't actually know what it's made of. because it's gone, it slips out of my head. But it's the same. It's really good. It makes you stronger, gets rid of EMFs, blah, blah, blah. But it's a permission slip. It's like you say, we can all do this ourselves. I mean, this is like, you know about the healing center I opened, don't you?
I think I have.
You should come over. You should come and do a talk in the west of Ireland.
I'd love to.
Yeah.
I'd love to. Do you pay extremely large amounts of money?
Depends how popular you are. So I could raise half a shilling and a toffee apple.
All right. Well, as long as you can buy me a pint of Guinness, then that's fine.
Yeah. I mean, we've done a lot of talks here, and we're in the process of potentially getting a good venue for ourselves. But the healing center, for example, right? This is our healing center. I don't know if you've seen this. Live5dhealth.com. There's my partner Gary. There's me needing a haircut. Hyperbaric oxygen, red light, PEMF, Brown's gas, quantum healing, sound therapy, exercise of oxygen, the Tesla violet ray. It's amazing. But the reason I'm showing you this is because of what you just said, which I've now forgotten. I'm a great podcaster.
That's right. We were talking about permission slips, yeah?
Permission slips, yeah. So, you know, when people come into the healing center and I give them a tour, I say, look, you know, it doesn't even matter if this stuff works or not. It's even if it was placebo, everything we've put in here is a bridge because you can heal yourself, but you're not quite there yet. So that's what this place is for. Yeah. And it gives them permission and it strengthens them and it cleanses them. And you know, it does all these good things, which means ultimately they can get to where they need to be themselves. In fact, when I was watching the video of you and me a year ago, there was a skin cancer on melanoma on the top of my head. And I got rid of that with my mind earlier in the year, which most of my viewers know about. But, you know, that was Germanic new medicine. But really, we are the med beds. It's that kind of ability that we've all got, but we're not all there yet. And it's like you're saying, everybody's at different levels. And there is this compression and people are misinterpreting it as like, oh, I'm dying. You know, I'm getting it all the time. In fact, I don't know if you've noticed, but for me, in the last 3 months, I've never had as many please help me emails as in the last 5 years. Just crazy stuff. Never had as many. Really quite exhausting. But that doesn't mean I don't want you to email me, guys. It's just there's a lot, you know, ranging from cancer to depression, suicide, all of that kind of. I know you're getting all that all the time anyway because you're actually seeing clients. I don't see clients, so I don't offer that as a service, but I ended up doing it anyway.
Well, let me put it a different way. When in the moments before you die,
me?
No,
I'm not dying.
In the moments before anyone dies.
Yeah, thank you.
There are codes that run through consciousness and the physical body that say, okay, we're about to go into non-physicality now. And what the pineal gland then does is dump a gigantic, colossal amount of DMT into the body. And then it helps the transition period into what people know as the astral. Because when you go into the astral, when you dream, your pineal actually shoots out a little bit of DMT.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're in a dream state, your body's actually producing, because your body produces DMT naturally all the time.
Yep.
And so when you're having those incredibly vivid, a DMT trip is actually just going into that incredibly vivid dream state, but in actual waking hours. But you're doing it actually during sleep. And so the body starts to go through codes just before death that say, okay, we're about to die, or what some people call the death codes. Yeah. And so as we are going into more and more informational awareness, or as this new field of awareness or consciousness is actually showing where resistance is in non-physicality, you're getting a similar symbiosis, a similar like event happening, whereby that 0 point is happening. And so consciousness is going, oh my God, this new state of awareness of non-physicality is getting closer and closer and closer. Am I about to die as I meet it? Yeah, so the ego goes into panic, and that is why that is created, because those codes are being awakened, shall we say, because we're used to dying and then coming back and then ascending through multiple lifetimes, not in the same lifetime. The only person that we are consciously aware of doing that was Jesus or Buddha or so on and so forth. The ascended masters, but we are now all becoming an ascended master. And so Jesus Christ is not going to, the second coming of Jesus Christ is not a singular event. It is a collective consciousness event. It is the embodiment of him through every daughter and son of God. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so as we are going into more states of higher consciousness awareness, that transition of what usually happens when someone dies is getting closer, or the awareness of that. And especially as we're going through the convergence. And so egoically, the mind can go, oh my God, am I going to die? Well, I'm getting a racing heart and getting heart palpitations and all these other things. I think I am going to die because I'm getting ascension symptoms layered on top of that. Oh, let's go to the emergency room. Well, I just came back from the emergency room. The doc said there was nothing wrong with me.
Yeah.
Happening all the time.
Mm-hmm. It is. It's very common.
And
more common.
And so that is why that happens. And so, yes, permission slips are fantastic, and we all use them. As I said, I'm using one right now, golden tektite, otherwise known as Libyan gold, which is one of my favorite crystals of all time. It's one of the three.
I've got loads of them.
Mm.
Look at this one. Beautiful.
Okay. Black onyx.
Yeah, that's from Abby. This is, I love this one.
That's moldavite. Lovely.
Gorgeous. This one's quite cool. This is, let's have a look at this.
That looks like metal.
No, this has got code on it. Come on, son. It's a bit dirty. Probably can't see that.
I'm just trying. Is that selenite?
No. It's just a piece of metal, but it's the
okay.
It's the code on there.
Yeah.
See, I'm like a collection of. There's a tissue. I feel like Patrick Troughton.
There is something from your collection that you're missing.
Go on. What?
Morganite. So I'll come to. So moldavite is one of the power crystals.
Yeah.
Golden tektite is one of the power crystals.
I want one.
And one of the other power crystals is morganite. It's like rose quartz on steroids.
Yeah. Morganite.
Mm. But I am going to give you a little bit of a telling off, if you don't mind.
Oh, go on.
Let me ask you a hypothetical question.
Yes, sir.
How many prescription drugs would you randomly match with each other just for the sake of it?
Randomly match with each other?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Well, let's say you had a whole load of prescription drugs.
Right.
And you didn't know how they all interacted with each other. Would you just take them all on the same day and just saw what happened?
Oh, I know what I know where you're going with this. Yeah.
What I'm trying to say is you've got
too many things.
Permission slips in your awareness at this moment in time, because what it's going to do is have too many conflicting effects on your light body. Yeah.
You just summed me up.
Mm.
Yeah. You should see the state of my kitchen.
Yeah. Is it full of magic mushrooms?
Yeah, and supplements. The kids have to move supplements out of the way to have their dinner.
Yeah. So really, it never really, from what the Arcturians have always told me, if you can, wear 1 or 2 crystals, but never more than that, because otherwise you get too much of a conflict of energies going on. I'm
going to take that off you. That's good advice. That's actually been in my field for a while, but I've ignored it.
Because at this moment in time, you've got a moldavite, which is a sledgehammer to your crown, but you've got black onyx, which is protection that you don't necessarily need, but it's also grounding. And so right now you're very top and bottom heavy, and it can create a slight lack here in the middle. Do you want me to read your energy live on this now?
Yeah. I'm not afraid. Yeah.
Oh God!
Right, how many Guinnesses is this going to cost?
It's like a client session, but live, which lots of people are going to see. All right, one sec. Okay, let's just see what's going on. Your galactic meridian is at 100%. Your universal meridian is at 100%. Your soul star is at 88%. If your soul star is at 88%, you've got money or abundance that's coming your way, Mark. There's something you put into your field. There's something you've done. I don't know if it's Bitcoin. I don't know whether it's a house you're going to sell, but you've got money in abundance that's about to hit. We'll come back to that in a moment.
Cool.
Your crown is at 100%. Your third eye. Your third eye is running a little bit low. It's running at about 40%. What are your sleep patterns like?
Pretty good most of the time. Did have a bit of a rough night last night, though.
Your heart meridian is at 100%. Your solar plexus is good. It's running at 90%. Your creational codes are running at 90%. Your sexual codes running at 100%. So your sacral energy is averaging out somewhere between 80 and 90%. Your root is a little bit.
Is it?
Yeah. That's the only part of you that actually is a little bit bumpy. Yeah. That's so what I would do is I would put away the moldavite, and if you really have to pair something with that black onyx, you really want something like red jasper or hematite. And personally, what I would recommend you is this. I would recommend, if you're having a little bit of a wobble with your root, which you are, where mine are paired with dragon energy. So get some red jasper like this, and then pair it with a Herkimer diamond to amplify its energy. That's what I would personally recommend for you at this moment in time. Or you can pair it with other stuff. But the moldavite is actually not doing you any good at this moment in time. It's keeping you a little bit out of your body because you've got a very slight minor grounding issue.
Well, I got that 5 years ago when I was under. You're going to tell me that I'm being paranoid. When I was under massive attacks, huge attacks, right? There was a demon on my back so heavy I had to climb up the stairs on my hands and knees. So I got moldavite, but I don't really need it anymore. You're right. It's not the same time as it was. There you go. It's on the shelf.
Do you know what? Talking about doing the Trump impersonation, one of the reasons.
Oh, you noticed?
One of the reasons why I love coming on the show is because on certain shows, I was on a show just before Christmas that hasn't come out yet, but they've got 250,000 subscribers, and another one that's going to come out. And I've been on some big shows.
Unlike you, Mark, who's got a tiny channel, but I do it out of charity. Sorry,
but when I come on a show like this, I feel like I can just like kind of chill out a little bit. That's why I love coming on the show. But going back to the Trump impersonation, that was a great impersonation because
great impersonation.
Yeah.
That was shit. And I'm overthinking it now. You see?
Do you know what? One of my favorite things that he does is this. He goes, I settled 30 wars. Just but
he settled 7 wars before breakfast.
Yeah, I woke up today, and you know what? The effects of what I've done will be felt for 1 billion years.
Billions and billions of dollars in my account. I mean, he's endless. I think he's the funniest guy in the world.
Yeah. I don't follow politics and I don't support anyone. So I'm on neither side. But I just love his mannerisms. You know what, guys? We're dealing with numbers so big that they had to create a new word for the type of work I'm doing.
You see, that's the best bit of your show when you're a little giggle with yourself. It cracks me up. Oh, he's gone, especially about the music. But yeah, it's good. You got to have fun with this because is this just? I mean, the music industry lost you, but oh my God, look at what you've done. It's amazing. It's brilliant.
Well, you know, the thing is with spiritual people is that they're too busy trying to be spiritual.
I know.
And spiritual people, you know, often have spiritual problems.
Yeah.
So increasingly, I try to actually, obviously I have to be very disciplined because I have a private practice and I see 400 clients a year, and some of them are quite well-known, famous people in America, or so on, so. But I try to just actually have fun, and I don't try to pretend that I'm holier than thou. If someone says, "Hey, Alexander, now that you've finished 12 clients this week and you don't have to do any work for 3 days, would you like to come for a beer?" Yes, I'd love to, without pretending that I'm so spiritual that I can't drink beer or eat a chicken burger or something like that. I try to actually have a human life on top of actually running an energy reading, healing private practice, and actually pretend to be a normal person.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to flagellate yourself, go and be a Catholic.
Yeah.
It's all that guilt and shame. Got to let go. Got to have a laugh. Got to be human, just within reason. Don't go crazy. Don't do ayahuasca every weekend.
Yeah.
I'm glad you brought that up, actually, because when I did ayahuasca, I was looking around going, these guys do this every weekend and they don't seem very evolved. Not all of them. There were just a few like that. And one guy had been doing it every weekend for 20 years. And I was like, and how are you getting on? He said, yeah, I love it. And he looked homeless. And I was like, yeah, it's not really working for you, is it?
Yeah, well, mastery is balance.
Yeah.
A little bit of what you like is okay. The Arcturians always said to me, don't be blinded by the light, but at the same time, don't drown in the darkness.
Blinded by the light. Who sang that?
That was the do-a-diddy-diddy-dum diddy-do Manfred Mann.
Manfred Mann. It was in my head. I was going to say it, and I thought that's not even a word, is it? Because I haven't said it in 40 years. It's one of those. It's like, is that a real thing?
And so, yeah, Manfred Mann. And so really, you have to have light and dark, because in duality, mastery is in balance. Yeah. So and this is why at some point I'm going to put out a video that's going to shock people, and the title of that video will be
Alexander dances naked down the street.
Well, that would be very amusing at a spiritual level, but it probably wouldn't do my career much good. But love and light on its own can create toxicity, because it's a state of imbalance.
Yeah. You can't. As you were talking about duality earlier, two magpies went past me. There you go. Go on.
And so do you know what that means?
Yeah, duality.
Yeah, it means you need to clean up your kitchen.
They're coming for the Moldavite now.
Yeah, everything is about balance. Yeah, balance. And that's why people who are spiritual, who are trying to be spiritual, are projecting a type of egoic entertainment onto a template that doesn't exist, instead of allowing source to work through you and actually just give you what is needed in that moment in time when you need it.
I've always found God really funny, and I don't see where does it come from? You just got to go with it. You got to enjoy yourself and not be afraid. It's like, look at us two. I was going to say two middle-aged men, one young man and one old man, talking about crystals on a podcast. If you told me I'd be doing this 10 years ago, I'd have laughed at you.
I would have been the same.
Here it is.
Here it is. Well, because it is you and I on a timeline within an ascended planet. So that is what our timelines look like on an ascended planet. And that is why there will not be a World War III, because you can't have certain timelines that play out in an ascended planet. But one thing I will say is that as you start to get into those very dense timelines, and you go into those big, it's not that they will then experience a World War III, but they will experience their own World War III within their own reality.
Yeah.
And that is free will at its best and at its worst. And so it is really a choice.
Everything's a choice. Everything you've talked about today, all I could think of is just giving you more and more choices, but more stark, more, with the volume turned up to 11.
Yeah. Well, like Spinal Tap,
it's one louder. It's one louder.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
watched Spinal Tap the other night. Not seen it in years. Full of satanic shit. I obviously didn't know that 30 years ago, and I thought it was the funniest film in history. Absolutely packed with satanic shite. Rob Reiner.
yeah. Well, I mean, it's regardless of what you think about him, it's being murdered by your own son is not ever good.
No, but he must have done something pretty bad. Did you see that clip of I think it was he was being roasted about 25 years ago by a guy who was talking about, because his dad was a sitcom writer or a comedy writer in the 50s, and he talked about all these comedians coming around and having their way with 10-year-old Rob Reiner. So it's that kind of, I think that's what happened. Anyway, we're going off on a Rob Reiner tangent. Sorry about that, guys.
That's all right. That's all right. So I am going to have to be a little bit naughty and say goodbye because I'm just checking my schedule now. I think I've got a client coming up in 15 minutes.
That's cool. Go to the little boy's room, do your hair. I'll see you later.
Yeah, Mark, always lovely to see you. What I want to thank you for is you are one of very, very few interviewers who allow me to just have fun without thinking on an interview. And you're really the only one I can think of out there that doesn't take it too seriously, knows how to balance out the interview, gets the serious bit in when they need to, and really lets me have a laugh. And for me, sitting and talking to you is a real joy. It makes me feel good about myself. Thank you.
Well, you just made my day. Thank you, Alexander. And keep it up, because you've been doing a phenomenal job in the last 5 years. We love you in this house. And if you guys have not seen Alex, go and follow him on YouTube. Anywhere else can they get you?
Well, I can give you my address here in Richmond if you like.
I don't think you want stalkers, do you?
No, don't come here. Don't come here.
16 Privet Avenue, Dorchester.
Yeah, the cupboard under the staircase. All right, I've got to go.
All right, look after yourself. I'll see you soon. I'll be in touch.
It's going to be the serious Alexander Quinn in about an hour for a client. I've got to go. Much love. Ciao.
All right, take care. Bye.